Hello and welcome back to Omaha Mom Talks. I'm your host, Jessie Gutierrez, local licensed therapist and mama to two, and your new bestie on this parenthood journey. Before we get started with today's episode, I just want to take a moment and thank everybody so far for all of your support and for listening to Omaha Mom Talks. This passion project has been super fun and exciting and a way for me to have a creative outlet, and I'm just so grateful for all of you that have been listening along. Now let's get into today's episode. I'm going to be sharing with you a local entrepreneur, mom, and businesswoman, Dr. Vernetta Kosalka. Vernetta brings over 25 years of experience in hospitality management. She has had lots of different roles in leadership and is an entrepreneur in event planning and floral design. She also is an educator at UNL, where she shares her expertise on hospitality management. In today's episode, Vernetta shares some really valuable wisdom on what it is to be a woman of color and owning her own business. She gives some great tips for those that are looking to enter into the world of entrepreneurship. And she also gives us some treats about divorce and life in dating. Thank you so much for joining us, and let's get into it with Vernetta on Omaha Mom Talks. Welcome back to Omaha Mom Talks. I'm your host, Jessie Gutierrez, and today I am so excited to share our guest with us. Our guest today is Dr. Vernetta Kosalka. Vernetta brings over 25 years of experience in hospitality management. I know her as like a jack of all trades because she does so many things and has so many different roles, such as leading businesses, giving education at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, where she shares her expertise in hospitality. And so I'm so excited to share with our listeners at Omaha Mom Talks, Dr. Vernetta Kosalka.
Well, thank you so much, Jessie, for this opportunity. It's good to see you.
Yes.
It's good to be here on your platform and share with your audience. So thank you for thinking of me.
Totally, yes. So, Vernetta, we are going to get into like all of the things, but before we do, share with our listeners just a little bit about who you are behind your profession. Like, what are you into? A little bit about your family, anything about your background or identity that you want to share.
All right, that sounds good. Well, I'm originally from Charleston, South Carolina. A lot of people don't know that. And I came up here to attend college at College of St. Mary.
Okay.
And all of my education has been there, undergrad, master's, and doctorate there.
Wonderful.
I'm on the board there, so it's wonderful to still be an alum. I am a mother of two. I have a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old.
Wow.
And that's really exciting, James and Victoria. They keep me busy and on my toes.
Yeah.
And they are all the things teenagers are.
Okay.
So I'm trying to keep up with them and encourage them. I am divorced. It's probably been about 3 years.
Okay.
And so I'm navigating dating and all the things.
Yeah.
And I teach at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and I've owned my business for about, 14 years.
Wow.
And so I've just transitioned it to VK Events Floral Planning, bringing it all together.
Perfect.
And so right now, my biggest focus is creating opportunities for my students, as well as stepping more of in a consultant and digital realm.
Oh,
That's
wonderful.
where I'm headed at. That's what I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
Learning about creating a digital platform for sharing all the information that I encompass. So
I love that. So I always like to share, if I have like a personal connection with a guest, I like to share with our listeners. So if it's okay, I'll share like how we met.
Oh, yes.
And so I will bring it back to like, I don't know, it was probably like 2017, 2016. I was newly engaged and planning my wedding. And I became like one of those brides that just got like deep into the planning process. I loved it. And I was looking up wedding planners, and I found you, Vernetta Kosalka, and I like loved like your images and all of your work. And I told my husband, I want this person to be our wedding planner. And he said, who do you think we are? We don't have money for a wedding planner. That's not in the budget. And I was like, okay. And then literally, like, it was a universe thing, because days later, at the time I was working at Ralston Public Schools, and I was leaving my job, and you were in the parking lot,
Yes.
Literally, like, I didn't know that your kids attended the school that I was working at. And I like saw you, and you're so beautiful, and I just knew who you were right away. And so I was like, excuse me, because I couldn't remember your name. I was like, are you a wedding planner? And you like turned around and you were like, why, yes, I am. And we started talking, and like just immediately I loved your energy. I loved your positivity. And I remember telling Drew, like, I need her involved. That's and amazing. So Vernetta was our florist for our wedding, and then also our day of coordinator.
Yes.
And I am, I was like a very picky bride. So and you nailed it. Like,
thank you.
Yes. Like 20 out of 10, you nailed it. The flowers were beautiful, above my expectations. The day of coordination, I like threw a lot at you, and you were just such a big part of making our weddings like the best day ever.
It was great to be a part of it. Thank you for trusting me with your big day. And I had so much fun with you and your family and getting to know you. And it was a joy. Yeah. I look back and I'm like, that was such a fun time.
It was so fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So I was super grateful to you. And then we, were able to like follow each other on social media and have this friendship. And I'm always rooting for you and like all the exciting things that you're doing, and you're doing so much.
Thank you.
So that's why when I was like thinking of women that inspire me and that I look up to, you were one of the people that came to my brain that I knew I wanted to be on Omaha Mom Talks. And like I said, you just like radiate positivity and love and joy. And so I'm excited to connect with you today, but also for our listeners to like hear from you and learn from you.
I appreciate everything you said. It's a story of resilience, but Jessie, I've been watching you too. And I'm like, we can do this. Like, we all inspire one another. And so it's so great that the tables turn to support you and your endeavor and your growth and where you're at, and to help individuals. So Thank you. Yeah, right back at you.
I love you for saying that. Thank you. So let's just kind of, I think like the hospitality industry is a big term. So let's talk a little bit about like what brought you into that industry and what are some of the roles that you've had and continue to have.
Oh, it's a great topic. Growing up in Charleston, South Carolina, it's known for hospitality. Okay. It's known for being hospitable.
Yeah.
So my family, I come from a family of entrepreneurs. And I come from this background where a lot of my family is served in the hospitality industry.
Wonderful.
But I knew as a child that I wanted to be an event planner and I wanted to be a floral designer.
You did?
Yes, and not too many people can say that and then live it at 43 and do it. So I knew as a child, and I just had to find my way with how I was going to bring these pieces together. And there was... back in my undergrad, there was so much focus on a lot of careers being established with software development. So I added on a double major in computer information management and a minor in marketing. Okay. And so I think those skills from my computer background really helped with adjusting to all the technology and changes that are happening.
Absolutely.
But I love that hospitality is within me, and I do live it. It is a lifestyle. And pleasing others, anticipating the needs of others, that's exactly what I do.
Yes.
And I try to think of every detail. I have to stop saying try, because I am.
Yeah.
And just, if I'm going to do it, let's do it great.
Absolutely.
That's always been my motto.
Yeah. And that shows in your work, for
Thank
sure.
you. Yeah.
So you said you currently change, it's VK Events?
Yes.
Okay. So tell us some of the services that you guys offer at VK Events.
Yes, absolutely. So yes, my foundation was with my company, The Wedding Planner Omaha, with planning weddings, and we still do that. I've been shifting more to day of coordination because my capacity is only but so long, and I want to make sure that if someone's going to trust me with the rig day, we want to do that right.
Yes.
And so I've been refining those services, but then we also do floral designs. Jessie, I am returning back to wedding and event planning and large floral.
Okay.
A couple years ago, I had the opportunity to open up a flower retail shop. And that was wonderful to have that opportunity to design it, to find all the items that I needed for it. But I wasn't quite ready. And also, to have a brick and mortar location, you really do need to have a lot of solid income. And so as I was signing these contracts and doing these things, I lost two of my major contracts.
Okay.
And that was tough.
Yeah.
And so a few orders a day just doesn't do it. Now, I'll say that the greater Omaha community definitely supports me. but just not in the massive volume for online floral orders and competing with those large online houses. And some of the challenges that I face with small businesses or businesses here in Omaha. So it's a very competitive market. And I said, okay, we could still do retail flowers, but we're not going to focus on marketing that, putting money behind it with marketing and branding and all that jazz. I've always been a strong proponent that what God gives me is what I'm going to have. Okay. And so returning to that mindset has been the best decision I've ever made.
Really?
And then that helps me to stay clear on listening to him and where I need to go and how I am supposed to use my talents. And so I'll say that I definitely had a lot of faith to step out there and take my small business from home to this retail location. I know that I did. I am listening to God, and I'm returning back to the joy that I had, the area that I was most successful at, the services that worked. And so I returned to VK Events Floral Planning. So event planning, floral design, and overall planning. And in the middle of all that and mixed in all that is the education.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't going to go back through and redo a logo to change the events or the planning to education. I said, Vernetta's within, and it's all the services and what you're educating and informing your customers and students on. So let's stop with the logo changes, you know, because a lot of entrepreneurs get caught up with the business card. The branding. Got to have the right
and it's fun and it's catchy and it's exciting.
Fun and catchy, but, you know, we can just have that tagline of the education on there and keep it moving. But so now we still offer retail. And customers do find us online. That's wonderful through Google and some of the
so if somebody needed like a bouquet or a boutonniere or thing like for events, they can still
that.
The real
yes. And then, you know, I've thank God that I have such a strong following. And so there are still individuals who call on me, who need my support and who need my help, and companies. And that's amazing. Yeah. And so I feel like it's the perfect amount for the balance that I need. And so that's VK Events Floral Planning. Now I'm going to make sure I try to stay on topic because I have so much to share.
We can go anywhere. Yeah,
I'm here to answer your questions and offer a lot of information.
Yeah. Well, what's on your mind? What do you want to share?
I don't know.
The questions.
I probably was thinking of it. I don't know. My brain goes everywhere at any time. So
we can talk about anything you want to talk about.
Okay,
I think
that's good.
You have a lot to share, a lot going on.
Yeah. It's like an interview where you just start sharing and then you've answered all the questions.
Yeah, it does. It comes out. Well, I think that with your current business and where things have gone, I'm really passionate on supporting like female-owned businesses. What have you learned in this industry as being like a female entrepreneur? And do you feel like that has made any differences in the way that people either like treat you or respect you or have expectations for you?
Yes, that's a big question. And they're slightly separate things that I could go into by being an entrepreneur and being a female, you know, and then also a woman of color.
Yeah.
And I think for a person of color who may not come from the pedigree of financial success growing up, is always a challenge financially to make sure that you know your numbers and we can't be pie in the sky. And so I just saw on a Facebook group, there's a group called Lit Omaha.
Okay.
And recently this woman shared, you guys, I really need your help with my business. I took it out of my home. It was my baby. And I thought I would grow it with this retail location. And all the things crumbled. You talk about a cookie crumbling for her. And she's like, I don't know what to do about my poor little baby that I had that now I have to go away with. And that post just spoke to me for so many reasons for dissolving the Wedding Planner Omaha. That was a tough one, you know, but women all entrepreneurs need financing and backing. And you have to do your research and get with a good bank and really think about how you're growing your business before you get any line of credit, any loans or any of those things, because now your focus becomes on the financial side of it, and it's not back on your passion and sharing it. And this is a digital era. Every person online is sharing their story and carving out their recipes on a social platform, and you have to exude joy and happiness and love. And when you have the doom and gloom of finance on the back of your mind, that's a little scary. So I feel like women need more education, and it's okay to go slow. You can have that thing in your brain that's saying, do it, chase these dreams, but we have to ground ourselves in reality to be like, okay, what's feasible?
Yes.
What can I afford with my income that I already have that I could lose? What part of my income can I lose? And I think that's the portion where your budget starts. And of course, you have to know your numbers on what does it take, so it's your cost of goods sold. What does it take to produce your product, and what income should you be making to pay yourself? And so if you are a woman and you're used to making X amount of thousands of dollars a year, how are you still going to take your bottle of water and sell it in a way that you still make that income, as well as then take care of your expenses?
Right.
And so that's definitely some advice that I have to share. And I share with my students also, like, if you sell a lipstick and you sell that lipstick for $1, okay, great. But how many units does that take for you to then make that monthly income to keep up with your cost of living?
Right.
Because you still have to pay yourself as an entrepreneur.
Right.
So finances definitely are really important, and the balance. The balance. And for me, I'm a mom. There's some women who are not a mom, or they're not a parental figure. I should say that. That's probably more inclusive. But trying to find that balance.
Yeah. And because you are a mom and you have gone through divorce, I imagine that the balance is like tricky and hard. You don't have a job that's like traditional business hours, right?
Yes.
And so how do you balance and your kids in their different seasons of life?
Yes.
Because they're teens now and they need different things from you than when they were like super little and you started. But how do you find that balance?
Oh, yeah.
With parenting and
before, when I was married, you have this income, you have the shared income, or you have expenses that you're not concerned with. And so a lot of my money was on all the extras. That's where my expenses went to: extras, vacations, home renovations, things of that nature. It didn't dawn on me till like 2 years ago, like, you are the breadwinner. You are everything.
Yeah.
And there is not enough income coming in from your business to account for these expenses. And so it was a huge adjustment, for myself and for my children. A huge reality check of, okay, let's reassess this budget. Let's be clear here, because there is not that additional income. So you have to plan accordingly for what you're able to lose, which was like zero, And so then I had to look at my pricing, because my prior pricing of my business was based off of that big contract I had. And competing with that contract. So if someone's selling a bouquet for flowers, this company online selling a bouquet for flowers for $49, as an entrepreneur, I can't afford that.
Right.
So I increased all my pricing by probably $10 or $20, to make it make sense for me.
Right.
And then be okay with not competing with that, because my quality of flowers and my products speaks for itself,
Absolutely.
So you have to believe in yourself and do what's right for your budget. You cannot plan to compete with somebody who's totally out of your room.
Right.
You have to stay focused and stay grounded on your budget. So it's been a huge adjustment, but things are getting much better now, that I have this reality check, and we're still able to go out and do fun things, but let's make a plan for it.
Yeah.
Because I like to have savings, and then I like to save for the big trips. And a lot of my matriarchs, they're getting older, and my patriarchs, and so having to go back home to South Carolina and see them, you want to be able to do that. And if someone passes away, you want to be able to book a plane ticket for yourself and your children.
Have them take you out.
And not take you out, And for entrepreneurs also, one big thing is, if you don't have enough savings just to be deductible ready, what are we doing? Because then you don't have enough to take care of any emergencies that you should plan for. So I really hope that someone out there is listening to this podcast and thinking, yes, we want to have the hope and the joy, and you want to follow that little thing in your heart saying, take your muffins and,
share it with the world.
Yeah, share it with the world. We can share it with the world. Let's just not forget the entrepreneurs before. I saw an image of Amazon, like a picture of him with a table that was a door in a garage.
Oh, yeah.
Selling his books online.
Yeah.
And
the big dreams are great to have, but having a plan to get there.
Having a plan, yes.
Knowing that slow and steady can still get you to that goal.
Yes, we don't have to have all the bells and whistles. You don't need the business card. You don't need the flashy website. Just get out there. Definitely be organized. Yeah. Look at your numbers and be organized and get started.
I will say, like, my industry, so I own my own mental health practice, and we did not learn in graduate school on how to be an entrepreneur or how to be a business owner. And so that was just something that I really learned on the fly, and that I definitely, like, learned a lot by making bad choices and learned from my mistakes, and I'm still learning. And I feel like if we aren't getting that education where we think we should be getting it, like in our graduate programs or things like that, are there any resources that you know of or like to point your students to in terms of learning about?
I am so glad you say that, Jessie, because it's very important for me. I learned a lot when I knew I wanted to when I wanted to design flowers. I was like, I'm going to go on YouTube. Let's start there. And then I said, you know what? I better enroll at Metropolitan Community College, because I want to be trained by the industry and I want to have that street cred that I've been through it, and I have the discipline for it and I understand the underpinnings. And so a lot of people may override MCC, but they should not. And for me, that's what worked for me. I think Sajing also is another opportunity where you're getting experience working alongside a professional.
Yes.
And maybe that may look to a lot of people. Sajing is more so the word used in the culinary industry. Sajing with a chef, and working at a restaurant. But getting an internship, definitely. But I really feel like, and I had to think about that. I was like, Vernetta, you did not take a brick and mortar training. You did not take a franchise training, because for me, I feel like once you decide you want to open up a brick and mortar location, you should be thinking about franchising.
Okay.
Like, you may never scale your business in that way, but we really do need to be thinking in a branding and a marketing way and how to have the masses of customers come into our business to offset those expenses.
Yeah.
My revenue went to OPPD, MUD, Cox. You know, you had to have this phone. And because everybody has a phone. Well, I could have had a Grasshopper phone. I could have just used my cell phone.
Yeah.
I could have added on a line to AT&T and I would have been great, So we have to undo some of the training or the preconceived things we have in our brain of how a business may look. But definitely taking I took about 5 or 6 classes at MCC for floral design.
Okay.
And it helped me. I was able to get team members to help me and work alongside me with my business, and learn from how to buy flowers correctly, how to design them when you don't have the supply that you need, how to make this design work. So definitely training and education. Absolutely. And it's the same thing with a lot of medical professionals, like how you say, you may have this degree, and a lot of people think you have a doctorate. Oh, you should know better. Well, again, you've been trained on that specific area.
Right.
You've not been trained on how to now turn that into a practice and operate it.
Right.
And keeping the financials in mind and at the forefront, and then staffing yourself at a level where you can still be that expert. We cannot be a great dentist if we're not even focused on our patients, and then our patients are receiving all kind of care, all kind of ways, then your brand goes the way, your reviews go down. So, education. Education.
So I've heard you say a lot about your students, and so where are you teaching and what are you teaching? And tell us about some of the education you provide.
Yes, I'm so excited. I am a assistant professor of practice at a Big Ten university, the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Awesome. Go Big Red.
Go Huskers.
Yes,
that's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. And, Jessie, that's hard. When I was working on my doctorate, a doctor of education, I knew I wanted to teach.
Okay.
And I was like, Vernetta, how are you going to find a hospitality job in the state of Nebraska? This is wild. And you're paying for this education. There was no company that was absorbing the cost of that tuition. So I was like, okay, there are no guarantees that I'm going to land a job in Omaha, Nebraska. But we're going to keep moving forward, and we're going to put in the work in the meantime. We're going to start asking for informational interviews. We're going to start asking for tours of different colleges that have a hospitality program. We're going to start making connections to really see if these are the people you even want to work with, you know. We're going to start with, can I part-time teach, lecture, you know, what opportunities are there? And so I tell my students, like, if there's an area where you want to be at, start getting to know the people to make sure that it's even a day in a life. Like, do you really want to do this and commit to this?
Yes.
So, but I'm happy, and I did all those things, and I worked really hard to understand that interview process and where it would take me, and it was fun. It was great, and I love being there. I'm finishing my third year.
Okay.
Yeah, this May will be my third year. So I am...
What are some of the classes or courses that you're teaching?
So I teach Introduction to Hospitality Management, Introduction to Event Planning, Guest Services Management, an online final interview where this internship where students are focused on management.
Okay.
And that's preparing them for graduation. And then I teach other classes. It could be hospitality finance, or in the past I've taught a marketing class, hospitality marketing class, customer service class, guest relations.
Gosh, I love
and I love it all. I really do. And so, you know, bringing my real world experience, you know, so when I graduated and I started working, I may have not had the best bosses. And I know I endured a lot of misogynistic, racial, you name it. There's been so many things that I had to face. And I took all those experiences, those bad experiences, to make me a better manager, to make me a better professor, you know. And so now if I have seen you're ugly, I now know what to anticipate to get through this situation and then for the next job. And then when I interview for that next job, I'm going to talk about the ways how what are my values and my principles that can make this company successful. So I've learned to flip it, you know, and maybe that's some cognitive behavioral theory. You know all about it. So I don't know if we're going to talk about mental health, but mental health is, I really encourage everyone to get right, every adult, because we need to understand the way we were raised.
Yes.
How that has influenced us.
Yes.
And then how do we want to be, and how do we want to show up for others in this world?
Yeah, maybe we can talk about that because that's a huge part of what I do. And I feel like I am in this therapist world where I'm talking with other therapists and it's the same language. So it's fun to speak someone who is, the language is like the same but different.
Yes.
So like I often tell, because I have a maternal mental health focus, I often tell the women that I support that becoming a mom is going to bring to surface all of your triggers and all of your unhealed stuff from your childhood. It will put a magnifying glass over all of the things that you thought you shoved under the rug, and it will come up. Yes. And so that is either our opportunity to face those wounds or face those triggers and heal them, or potentially like repeat the same patterns that we were raised in. So tell me a little bit about, like your, whatever you feel comfortable sharing of like your journey with that, or your thoughts on that.
When my mental health journey, I was working with a therapist, you say, I was earlier in my career and also in my relationship, in my prior marriage, I found that I wasn't quite getting along with others as I thought I would, or I wasn't being perceived for the good in my heart that I thought I was getting out there to the world. And so I felt I was just, bucking a lot of people, or one boss to say, Vernetta, you're a bull in a china shop.
Really?
You know, like you have these great ideas, but you don't bring others along with you. You just go.
Okay.
And I was like, well, speed up, you know? I didn't say that, not my problem. I was like, all right, we're going to have to address this because something is off here. And so I started with this one counselor She was really good, but she was tough on me. She was really tough on me. And, but she taught me a lot of things. She was grounded in spirituality. So that was nice that we could talk about God and the influence of God and faith in a lot of who I am. And she taught me a lot of things, just like, don't be so, I don't know, what's the word, anxious about the future.
Okay.
Be present with the things that are in your hand, the things that are today.
Yeah.
What is on your mind, or what's the challenges for the day, or the joys also. And so sometimes I'll be like, okay, Vernetta, what's in my hand? What's real? Don't think about all the things. She taught me a lot of things that still stay with me. Then I started bringing in my ex into those sessions, and then it took a whole different angle. But I was like, Vernetta, we started this for me.
Yeah.
So you need to get back to yourself. And so then some things were uncovered. I went through a lot of things, and it wasn't until about 2 years ago, I was crying. It was after the divorce, and I was just feeling the weight of all the changes and the loss of all the relationships. You make that decision. For me, I made that decision. It took a long time to get there. It took a very long time to make that decision and to be at peace with it. It was not an easy decision to make. And I didn't think of the support system, though. And I'm from South Carolina. So,
you don't have a village here.
Yeah, I don't have a village. And all my mom friends or my friends, they're all moms and entrepreneurs, and we're all busy.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh boy, and I caretake for so many people, and I'm like, who's showing up for Vernetta?
Yeah.
And I was feeling just so overwhelmed, loss of those contracts, and I was like, whoa. And I started crying. It was like 156, and I Googled therapists that are nearby. I need somebody now.
Yeah.
And I met this therapist. I can't even remember his name. It's like God sent me these angels, and they went away. But that's when I learned about CBT.
Okay.
And that's when I learned about using the right words, identifying the right words for how I feel. And that really saved me, because it just felt like the weight of everything was crushing against me, and a lot of my my career is subjective to others. I have my student feedback, I have my client feedback, I have reviews online. How well did you do at Eventflight? How well did you do at this design? And so I had to breathe and work through a lot of those things to help my mind process all this information. So therapy definitely helped me.
Good. So one thing that was interesting to me that you said was that like old boss gave you some feedback that you like had all these ideas and didn't bring people along, because I view you as such a leader and an educator and wanting to share your wisdom. So somewhere along the way, that changed for you.
Yeah. But did it change? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think like when you get around your people, your thoughts are perceived well and positive, and people want to encourage you and guide you in the right way.
That makes sense.
So maybe I was around the wrong people, or maybe I was around people who felt some sense of intimidation.
Yes,
okay. But I also feel like there's definitely moments where, I don't know if you know about strength finders. We all have our strengghs.
Yes.
But it's a knob. We got to know when to turn that volume up, know when to turn it down.
Yes.
And then if you're working if you're teaming, you have to know the strengths of everyone else around you. And then you have to say things in a way, you have to curve things in a way to make sure everyone understands it. And then also give an opportunity for others to use their expertise. So a lot of people said in my career, Vernetta, you need to delegate. You can't do it all. So many weddings, people are like, is anybody going to be with you the day of? And they're like, yes, there'll be people with me the day of. They're not here now because it doesn't make sense for them to be here, okay? I'm not paying them to sit at this meeting, But so now learning how to delegate and what to trust people with.
Has that been hard?
Oh, it was at first, and then it was great.
Yes, for yourself.
But I thought about it the other day when I delegated, when I had that, because I always go back to that retail location. What worked? What went wrong? What choices did I make? And I trusted a team of people to help me. But man, there were challenges. People want to start telling you how to run your brand and how to run your services. And again, I'm trying to state the things on my mind in a way that makes sense. So bear with me, give me a second, but I was like, okay, Vernetta, what went good, what went wrong, what ways did you communicate effectively, not effectively, and then, okay, I don't want to repeat that again, or maybe I was right, and maybe there's some other influence there that was out of my control, but I said, no, we're not going to stop delegating. We're still going to delegate, and I have an AI assistant, and ChatGPT helps me out a lot.
Okay.
And we're just gonna go slow here.
Yes. Yeah.
So, there's a lot to share.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for the moms that are interested in, I don't think you actually know what I'm gonna say. So if you're
okay.
For the moms that maybe are interested in dating, tell us what it is like out there. What are some of the fun things? What are some of the stressful things? Yes. Because I imagine there's been ups and downs with the dating world.
Ups and downs.
What can you tell us?
Not too many people are coming up to you on the street saying, hey, can I get your number?
Yeah.
Without you thinking stranger danger, okay? That's real right now. So, some of my friends, one of my sisters, like, you need to get on Bumble. You need to get on Bumble. So I went on Bumble, the Bumble app.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am who I am. Why am I putting myself out there? And then if other women have all their boobies out, I don't want to be out there with boobies. Like, I'll show a little, you want to be flirty.
But you don't have to show all the goods.
You talk about subjectiveness. If someone could just swipe on you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not a chicken.
Such a weird,
Not a piece of steak. And people go, not that one, not that one.
Swipe.
So I had to get over that. And then, and just be bold and get out there. But I had to think outside of the box, because just when you think like, oh, this person, maybe, well, some of those might turn out to be frogs. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes people you can't judge someone by their profile, because there could be so much more behind it.
Yes.
So I'm so glad my last swipe that I did on that site, I swiped on this guy, Jeff. Jeff is my boyfriend.
Okay.
And he is awesome.
Yay.
And I swiped on him, and then I made the first moves. A lot of women aren't making the first moves.
Okay.
A lot of women feel like a man should swipe. Well, in Bumble, you can't. Women have to swipe.
Okay.
It depends on the app you're on. But men should
make the first move.
Yeah, men should the first move. Men should ask you out. Men should pay. Men should do all these things. And but I swiped on Jeff, and then I always tease him. And then I asked him out. I said, "You want to meet up for a cigar and a cocktail?" And he was just like, "Yeah." And then I asked him out the second time. Maybe it was even the third time before he started asking. I was like, "Are you ever going to start asking?"
I love it.
But I'm glad that I did, because some men perceive that you're not interested.
Right.
Or like our first date, he was like, "Can I get a kiss?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know
you."
You seem cool, but no.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, what if I do want to kiss him, but I can't make him, he can't think I'm fast. I don't want to be fast.
There's so much. Yes.
There's so much going on to unpack. So he may have read in that situation, she's not interested. No, I just didn't want to kiss you that night.
Right.
But so we laugh and we joke about that now, because it is hilarious and fun. And I asked him, I think I asked up to the third date. Okay. And some of my friends would not do that.
Yeah.
But then also, I feel like for me, Jessie, I will chat with you on these messaging, and I did all that. But I need to meet you sooner than later.
Yes.
I'm not going to be out there for months on end talking to you to make sure it's safe. I don't know if it's safe until I actually see you. And then I can set the setting for how that'll be to protect myself.
There are things you can do to make it the environment safe.
I have to feel your energy.
I agree.
And then people have different hygienic practices. And so I need to see you and smell you and share a cup of, not share a cup of coffee, but have a cup of coffee or whatever. I need to see how you eat. There's just so many things, and that'll be the red flags that would pop up later that you'd be like, oh, no.
I agree with you. So I work with a lot of young women who haven't been married yet and are dating, and I always encourage them to don't delay getting together if you're interested, because I've seen a lot of young women do like months of this correspondence, and it creates this like faux emotional bond before you've even met in person, and then the reality might not meet the same expectation that you've created in the head. And I'm like, oh, we don't have time to waste. Like,
we don't have time to waste.
Make the meeting and see if there's a vibe, if there's a connection, if there's an energy, and you can still explore if you're not certain. You know, it doesn't have to just be a one and done. But don't do this like 2 months of correspondence and creating this
because
bond
that's not real. That's fictitious. Like how you said, you're a therapist, you know. Listen to what Jessie says. She is right, everyone. So I think that that's important. And yes, guys growing up, they used to come and ask for your number. Then you could get a sense of all that right then and there. Yeah, you know. But
well, I'm proud of you for putting yourself out there, for going after it, for inviting him on a date. And because it takes some ability to be bold and vulnerable. But like, look how it worked out for you.
Look how it worked out. And he's a wonderful man. I feel like we have a lot of similarities with career, age, experiences, you know, background, beliefs. And so that's wonderful. But I had something on my mind. I used a different name online, or at least I used a part of my name, not my whole name. I didn't list the city that I lived in.
Okay, just for your own protection.
Yeah, my own protection.
Because I guess you do have a unique name. So if someone Googled you, they would find your business.
They would find, I didn't put out there what I do. Okay. So those are some things to keep in mind. And then for my mileage, the mileage range of who you want to see your profile. I didn't do Lincoln because I don't want to date a student.
Or have them keeping your profile.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. I mentioned that one time in a class. They're like, oh, my God. You know, they all started laughing. And then they started thinking of all their dating. And then it just made people think about things. But we just have to think about it. Yeah. And be okay to get on out there and try, you know, but a lot of people in the world is just so shut off right now. And a lot of people are just so siloed. And I even saw a Facebook post that in order to find a good woman, a man would have to be either on Amazon, Target, but I won't say that anymore. But you see what I'm saying? It's just hard. Trader Joe's. It's just really hard for where women are. You know, we're at the gym. We're shopping online. Yeah. We're in a lot of self-care, but we're working.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I'm so happy for you because I know how much like love you have to give, but you deserve that same amount of love right back at you.
Yeah. I made that very clear. I was like, I need softness. I need sweetness. I need just to be tender with me and anticipate my needs. And when I finally am able to rest, let's have fun and let's relax because there is no time for it. Like, to be dating, to choose to date is a choice. That's for a lot of women because we are just so busy. Yeah. And
Well, speaking of busy, I know you're doing a ton and you do so much like in the community, and I see you on different posts and things. I know you just had like a big event at the cathedral, right?
Yes,
tell me about that.
Yeah, I commissioned a piece of floral art for the annual Cathedral Floral Project. It's a big flower festival. Yeah. It draws in about 8,000 visitors each year in January. And it's at St. Cecilia's Cathedral. Okay. And it's a wonderful show. And so years ago, I was asked to be in the show, but the individuals then assumed that I was from North Omaha. And I'm from South Carolina. Yeah. You know, and I live South Omaha. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, what? Where are we going? And so then I kind of I thought of the show, but I was like, I don't know if it's inclusive. I don't know. I don't want to deal, you know? And then a couple years ago, the current director and team, they reached out to me to be a part of the show. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And I addressed my concerns and it was heard. And I was assured, you know, that would be a great opportunity. And so then the first show, I feel like, because again, the floral artists in Omaha are they're good. There are some designers here that just, you cry when you see their work. Wow. You just feel it. You feel whatever emotion that they're evoking, you feel it. And so that's something I talk to my students about. We want to still carry that through. So I was like, okay, Vernetta, we got big shoes to fill, And the first show I was kind of off to the side. I mean, there's not a bad area there, but I was more so towards the back and off to the side. And I was designing around this piece of art that represented like like a drive through Nebraska. So I used a lot of flowers that are natural grasses and natural flowers that you see in Nebraska. And then last year, I stepped it out with designing flowers. We were assigned a quilt, and my quilt had a flamingo on it.
Oh, cool.
So I found these oversized flamingo. My first ones off Amazon were so tiny. I was like, that ain't going to work. So I connected with this iron artist, and then I designed flowers around that, and it made it to Omaha Rural Herald. And I was like,
amazing.
Okay, that's good. So then this year I was like, okay, why didn't it go? Like, I'm like, well, duh, Vernetta's a religious show, so you need to be more focused, know? So then this year, the organizers have been very pleased with the passion and the work that I put in, and I've kind of carved out, what they could expect of my design. Mm-hmm. And so I had a choice to be behind the altar, and that's a huge area to be at. Like, that is, like, for me, the creme de la creme.
Yes.
Again, there's artists, floral designers all around that space, but I had a choice. I chose the Blessed Assumption, the painting of the Blessed Assumption of Mary. And it's a beautiful, magnificent, it takes up the whole wall space of these deep maroon and blues and some slight pinks color tones, and has a lot of musical instruments. And so I was talking with James, the director, and he's like, I'm thinking instruments, Vernetta. And I was like, instruments? Okay. So then I went to work and I contacted Rockefeller Center, because they have the Angels with the playing the Buzine trumpet. I was like, okay, we can't do a saxophone, yes. And yeah, we could do a cello. You see that image in a lot of angel artistry, but it's the Buzine trumpet. So then Rockefeller Center, they did respond to my email, and they did think about it, and they passed on it. And I was like, darn it, I just needed to borrow 2 angels. So I was like, how am I going to do this? So there I go on Amazon again, and I find these beautiful angels that were beautiful. And I incorporated that, and I made my own wooden dowels with funnels to make that Buzine trumpet. I did a lot of research because it's a hard thing, but I love that I challenge myself, Jessie, to think outside the box and to help bring this painting to life. And it was received very well, and I stepped it up. We get a stipend, but the stipend is just to cover some of the expenses.
Okay.
But your value should not be what the stipend is, because it's a small stipend anyways. And you should be showing opulent design or very detailed work. Uh-huh. So when you have floral designers saying, great job, or they're about to leave and they come back in to see what you're doing, that says a lot. And then when they tell you you're doing a great job, I'm like, okay, I've come a long way, because that lady has an eye for detail,
Yeah.
So
your colleagues are giving you that level of praise and excitement, and truly, like you were saying, you teach people to put their love and energy into it. Like, clearly you're practicing what you preach, and people are receiving it. Yeah, it was received well. The public loved it, and so I'm looking forward to next year. That's awesome.
How to keep having fun.
Yes.
And
what other projects or things are on the books for you? What exciting things?
Again, I mentioned a little earlier the focus on digital creation.
Yes.
And so I am rolling out some online courses for how to plan a wedding.
Awesome.
And how to plan events.
Gosh.
And that's great. I've been getting trained on that, and I actually have the product finished. I just need to start promoting it. But when do you have time to make these posts? I keep trying to employ my children, but they're like, no, we don't want to do it.
I bet you could do social media way faster than me.
Yes. So I've been working on, learning how to share my personal story.
Okay.
Online in a way that's authentic to me, but still protects my life.
Yes.
And that's been going great. And I became an Amazon associate. And so I've been listing out there all the things that I'm buying, because I buy a lot of things off of there. I earned $3 last week.
Hey,
every coin matters. Every coin matters.
Yes.
We're getting started.
I love it.
People are buying. That probably was like 30 items. I don't know. I'm new to all this, but
yes.
Yeah, sharing my
I love the idea
platform.
of teaching other people how to play. Now, would that be for the bride or for wedding planners?
For the bride.
Okay, amazing. Because I remember when I was planning my wedding and I got deep into it and I loved it. I remember saying to you, I think I want to be a wedding planner. Yes. And you were like, let's pause that. Let's get through your wedding first.
Yeah.
And I think I remember you even saying a lot of brides feel that way. Right. And then, and I literally got pregnant a month after we got married, so that I wasn't going to take on a new trading or career or whatever. But I just think of what a great resource that will be for brides who are learning.
And that's been the biggest thing. One of the professors, one of my colleagues was like, well, what's your brand? What's your brand, Vernetta? And I was like, my brand? This is 3 years ago. And I was like, I don't know, I'm an entrepreneur, So, yes, we have to have a brand in our professorship, and it has to be authentic. And so when I'm creating these digital courses, I'm making sure that I'm not competing with my student body, But not everyone's going to, be a 40, 50-year-old or a 30-year-old trying to get married who then wants to get a bachelor's degree, right?
Right.
In planning a wedding. So they're just trying to plan the wedding.
Right.
And right now with this economy, a lot of people are still DIY and probably maybe more DIY now more than ever with all these changes in our government. And so I want to share this knowledge and help that base out, and then continue to create my adult education classes at MCC, because I still offer the entrepreneurship and wedding planning non-credit classes.
At Metro?
Yep, at Metro. And then I have a commitment with the state of Nebraska to continue to improve our hospitality industry overall, educate our students who are pursuing a bachelor's degree, and creating more content that helps. That's my role with the college, is to help our industry and use the university to educate consumers and students. So it's a wonderful area to be in.
Yes.
So a lot of support. I've won teaching technology grants, to bring technology into the classroom.
Awesome.
And I'm still involved with my sorority, Delta Sigma Theta.
Okay.
And but I put a lot of work in right now with the Links Incorporated. And with the Links, it's a group of, it's a international organization of Black women who are serving the community. And so each chapter, we have our overall facets that we focus on for improvement of the community, but each chapter has their local
So there's a local chapter.
Yes.
So if somebody was interested in looking at that.
Oh, absolutely. And we do, our intake process is a little different. It's a little private. But we do so much work out here to help the community, help the Black community, and educate the community. So I serve as our Red Dress Chair, which is an event that we do in the month of February to highlight heart health and kidney health through Black Cares. So I plan that event, and that's been wonderful to work with this chapter to help find speakers and acknowledgement and share content. So I've been doing a lot of community work with the Links.
I love that.
Yep, and College of St. Mary, which is all about helping our most marginalized women seek higher education. So those two things I've really been putting a lot of time and effort in. And it's a great payoff when you are at graduation. You see these women and men at College of St. Mary graduating, working to improve their lives and improve the community. That's fun.
Yeah. Well, I love the impact that you're making and the influence and wisdom that you're sharing. If our listeners want to find you or work with you or learn from you, where can they find you? Either your website or social media, and we'll tag it in the notes.
Thank you. Yes, I would love to share more information and work with individuals. I'm at VernettaKosalka.com. That's my main website. And then if you want to work with me through the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm on the website there within the College of Education and Human Sciences. That's where you find me. But my VernettaKosalka.com will take everyone everywhere they need to go. And on social media, my hashtags or my mentions Vernetta Kosalka or VK Events Floral Planning.
Perfect.
And I still use Florist of Omaha and the Wedding Planner Omaha hashtags as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Vernetta, so much for connecting with me. I appreciate just your vulnerability and your openness, but also I know that our listeners are going to gain so much wisdom from you. So just thank you so much.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. It's great to connect with you. Yes. And I hope that I have said something to inspire others with whatever facet. But I think you asked really good questions about women and entrepreneurship and where do we go from there, and dating.
Yes, I'm glad we got to get into all of it. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you to our listeners for joining us on Omaha Mom Talks today. If you are not already, please go ahead and subscribe, rate, and follow Omaha Mom Talks. And if you have any interest in future episodes or topics, shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'd love to hear from you. And keep taking good care of yourselves. Bye. Omaha Mom Talks. Real moms, authentic conversations, no filter needed.